assignment for 2 years to come to this place. And I've run, when I got here, like for 6 years, I have run all like multi-million dollar operation to launch, and we were helping the adult rehabilitation center to all the drugs and alcoholics. So we've seen a lot of things in that sphere. But who am I? I am a descendant of the survivors of the genocide of the Ottoman Empire. And this is what it looked like, how my people have suffered. It was over 100 years ago, to be exact, 105 years ago, will be next month in April, on April 24th. So if you see around, there will be news coming out. There's a community here, Armenian community, Armenian church in St. Paul that we will be marking, we'll be remembering that day where all of our ancestors, our, people suffered, not just suffered, died for it. For what? So that's what it looked like, and nothing was good. So they would, the people from the Ottoman Empire would let my people walk in a desert. And if any one of them would stop, they would shoot them. So either way, you're destined to death. Whether you walk or whether you stop, you're gonna die either way. So let me show the next slide. So this is my grandmother on the outfit of the boy, and that's her sister. That's my grandfather. He's the one who had witnessed his parents to be beheaded in front of his eyes. And he was only 9 years old when he ran away from this tragic event. And what his parents did to him, they would shove him with a golden spoons and a silver spoons, so he will be able to exchange them for the bread or some kind of food for his siblings. He had his 2-year-old sibling with his hand, and another like a newborn, like a 1-year-old sibling who was tied in the front of his, the front, so when he runs, he will be able to balance it out and doesn't have to worry about using 2 hands. So what happens, as he was running from the Ottoman Empire to behead him, he let his sibling go accidentally. As he stumbled, the sibling stumbled. And he had not even seconds for him to think what he should do. Should he go back and grab the sibling and possibly 3 of them will die? Or he should continue with the sibling that he had in front of him and save his life and his life? What he should do? That's the moment that we as a leader sometimes we face, correct? Sometimes we are in an extreme moment, we are crunched, we don't have no resources, we have not been trained to do what we're trained to do. The time, is against us, and life is nothing but a lesson. So he chose to keep running. He kept running and running while he was 9 years old. And he ran until he crossed the border of Georgia. And he was met there by American missionaries. Thank you guys. You're always everywhere, wherever we need you. And praise God for you, and praise God for America. I always pray that. So, and he was met by them, and they rescued him. They wanted to adopt him when they found out who he belonged to. His father was a part of the royalty. And he was so extremely rich, they were extremely wealthy, that they pretty much governed that area. So, and then during that time, but they were extremely kind and generous at the same time. During that time, there was a big cry, there was a revival of the Christianity, and they had no leader. He built them a church, he built them everything that they needed, but people had no leader. People had no priest. Who do they have to rely on? So his father renounced his royalship, and he became a priest to lead the people. Sometimes we also have a face, we have to face the consequences. We also have to face the choices. What is the most important for us? And in leadership, we have to have a vision. The vision starts with why. The purpose starts with what. Unless you show your why, people will not follow you. Sometimes people care less about how you do it, but it's important for them to know why we do it. There were two visions. The two visions, like evil vision and good vision, right? Let's say. So the Ottoman Empire, during that time, it was the first World War I. They called it Holy War. The World War II was named what? Does anybody know? Great War. So how can from something holy and something great can produce something despicable and ugly? Think about it. Holy War and Great War. Wow, two words that you cannot combine at all, that don't go together. So sometimes we also see the combination of the leadership that have some kind of unexplainable, qualities in him. What is he trying to do? Is he we're trying to kind of walk in which way are we leaning? Are you good? Are you bad? What's your message? What are you trying to do? How are you trying to lead? Sometimes unless we define ourselves as a leader, why we do and who we are, we're gonna be always confused. We always have a holy and war in the same sentence. Lazy and leader in the same sentence. Your qualities, good and bad in the same, in the same personality. So we have to define who we are and who is the one who is leading us, who is the one that we're going after. So he had continued his vision of his dad, of his people. He could have chosen to grow up and teach all of his, kids and grandkids to hate people who killed them, who hate people, to beheaded his parents in front of his eyes, innocent eyes. He still remembered that, out while they were beheading his parents, how the blood had splashed on his face, and he smelled the death. He knew what the death smelled like. So, and that's why we have to be very out there, very intentional about our leadership style, what we are, because everything we do is going to be impactful. If he would have chosen to plant the seed of hatred, I would be not standing here. I would be probably out there, with the guns and violence and killing and hurting people, wanting them to suffer. I would pass the same thing to my kids. But no, he carried the vision, and vision is a very powerful thing. When you find out what your why is, you will be able to explain your people how to do it. And you will be able to come up with your what, which is your purpose of life. What is your purpose of life? Forget about